Starseed from Gaia. Two actions you barely noticed have unsettled someone who can no longer explain your presence. I am Ophelia, emissary of the Galactic Federation, delivering this transmission from the Arcturian Council for this exact moment of your activation. By the end of this transmission, you'll understand exactly how to interpret Arcturian downloads and recognize the hidden impact of your awakened energy. But here's the first revelation. You did not frighten them by trying to be powerful. You revealed a truth they were not prepared to feel. You didn't scroll to this by mistake. This message vibrated into your field for a reason. Your soul called this in, and the reaction around you is confirming that your mission is becoming visible. Like this transmission to signal to your star family, I'm ready. Subscribe if your mission is activating. Comment 999 if your cosmic remembrance is returning. This isn't just a message, it's a point of reconnection. Your soul's been waiting for this. You are not here by accident. If something inside you is still vibrating from what you just heard, don't rush past it. The Arcturian Carrier Wave Protocol, 7 guided nights to cross the whisper threshold, is available for those who feel ready to integrate this activation more deeply. This guided experience offers practices for conscious expansion, multidimensional alignment, and mission remembrance, along with special bonus activations to support your next phase. You'll find the link in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. What matters now is not whether you can explain what happened. Explanation belongs to the surface mind, and the surface mind is often the last part of you to recognize a frequency shift. The mind wants to place every experience into a familiar drawer. It wants a name, a cause, a conclusion, and a version of events that can be repeated without discomfort. But some encounters do not arrive to be immediately explained. They arrive to be felt, witnessed, and integrated. They move through you like a current beneath still water, leaving ripples long after the visible surface appears calm. What matters is that something moved through the space between you and another person. Something subtle, precise, and impossible to imitate. You may have thought you were simply being yourself, making an ordinary gesture, choosing an unusual word, pausing at an unexpected moment, or responding in a way that felt natural to you. But beneath that visible action, your energy field may have transmitted a signal their system was not prepared to interpret. Perhaps it was the way you looked at them without needing anything from them. Perhaps it was the silence that followed your answer. Perhaps you did not rush to fill an uncomfortable space, did not soften a truth, did not laugh when you would once have laughed to make another person feel secure. Sometimes the transmission is not in what you do, but in what you no longer do. The absence of an old reaction can be more powerful than any declaration. A familiar pattern may have expected you to explain yourself, defend yourself, apologize, chase, reassure, or become emotionally available on demand. But this time, something deeper in you remained still. That stillness was not emptiness, it was a new center of gravity. And when another person is accustomed to meeting your uncertainty, your certainty can feel almost otherworldly. This is why they are still unsettled. Not because you intended to frighten them, not because you were trying to display power, and not because you consciously knew what you were doing. Their body noticed before their mind could create a story. Their nervous system encountered a presence that did not match the identity they had assigned to you. For a brief moment, the pattern they had built around you collapsed. They saw something they could not categorize, and when the human mind cannot categorize an experience, it often translates recognition into fear. The body is ancient in its perception. Before language, before reasoning, before the polished explanations of the personality, the body was already listening to rhythm, tone, posture, breath, and intention. It knows when someone is divided against themselves. It knows when a smile is hiding resentment. It knows when words and energy are traveling in different directions. And it also recognizes coherence. When the words, the eyes, the breath, and the inner truth begin moving together, another nervous system can feel the difference even if the conscious mind cannot name it. They may have returned to that moment repeatedly, replaying the details and wondering what changed. They may tell themselves that you were acting strangely, that the atmosphere was unusual, or that they simply felt tired. But beneath those explanations, a deeper recognition may still be moving through them. They encountered a version of you that was not available to their old expectations. They felt the door close on a previous arrangement. Even if neither of you spoke about it, you may have noticed this throughout your life. People stare at you and then look away. Conversations become unusually honest in your presence. Someone tells you their deepest secret after barely knowing you. Others become defensive, restless, fascinated, or strangely emotional without understanding why. You may enter a room and feel the atmosphere change before anyone speaks. You may say one sentence that continues echoing in someone's mind for days. You may look at a person at exactly the moment they were thinking about you, or speak directly to something they had never revealed. There may be times when you wonder whether you are imagining the intensity of these encounters. You notice the shift in the room, but everyone else continues as though nothing happened. You feel a current beneath an ordinary conversation, while the other person changes the subject or begins speaking more loudly. You sense that something has been acknowledged without being spoken. This can be disorienting, especially when you have been trained to trust only what can be proven externally. But not everything real announces itself through visible evidence. The wind moves through the trees without leaving a permanent shape. Gravity holds oceans against the earth without asking to be seen. A thought can alter the course of an entire life, while remaining invisible to everyone except the person who received it. Your presence can affect another person in ways that are subtle, private, and impossible to measure from the outside. These moments are not necessarily signs that you are meant to control anyone or convince them of anything. They are indications that your field has become more coherent. When a person begins remembering themselves beneath conditioning, their presence becomes less fragmented. Their words carry more charge because they are no longer coming only from the personality. They are moving through a deeper alignment, an inner current that existed before social performance, before fear of judgment, before the need to appear predictable. Coherence does not mean perfection. It does not mean you never feel fear, sadness, confusion, or anger. It means those experiences no longer possess every part of you at once. A coherent person can feel grief without becoming only grief. They can experience anger without handing their entire identity to anger. They can notice fear without allowing fear to become the author of every decision. The scattered pieces begin returning to one inner sun. When your energy is fragmented, people may receive different versions of you from moment to moment. One part wants closeness, another expects betrayal. One part speaks truth, another immediately retracts it. One part establishes a boundary, another rushes to apologize for having one. Others may not consciously understand these contradictions, but they feel them. As you heal, the mixed signals begin to resolve. Your field becomes easier to read because you are no longer abandoning yourself in the middle of an interaction. The first shift is recognizing the distortion that has been scrambling your signal. For years, you may have been taught to soften your perception, question your instincts, hide your intensity, and make other people comfortable with a version of you that feels smaller than your actual presence. Every time you silenced an accurate feeling, every time you pretended not to notice an energetic contradiction, every time you ignored the message in your body because someone else called you too sensitive, a layer of interference entered the field. You may have been praised for being easygoing when what others really meant was that you did not challenge their behavior. You may have been called dramatic when you were accurately naming a tension everyone else preferred to ignore. You may have been told that you think too much when you were perceiving details that had not yet become obvious. Over time, these judgments can become internal echoes. The outside voice moves inside, and eventually, you begin censoring yourself before anyone else has the opportunity to do it. This is how distortion becomes normalized. You learn to distrust the first feeling and wait for permission from the world. You gather evidence for what your body already knows. You ask 10 people whether a situation feels wrong, hoping one of them will confirm the message that arrived in you instantly. You confuse consensus with truth and familiarity with safety. The signal remains present, but it is buried beneath layers of negotiation. That interference did not erase your abilities. It only made them difficult to read. It created static between what you sensed and what you allowed yourself to acknowledge. You began asking, "Am I imagining this?" when a deeper part of you was saying, "You already know." You began seeking permission to trust impressions that arrived before evidence. You began translating your own intelligence into doubt. The static may also appear as overinterpretation. When you have been denied trust in your own perception for a long time, you may swing between ignoring every inner signal and assigning cosmic meaning to every external event. Both responses come from the same wound. One says, "Nothing I feel is real." The other says, everything I feel must immediately become a prophecy. The healed path is quieter. It allows perception to mature through observation, patience, and grounded discernment. The Arcturian perspective is simple. A signal cannot be stabilized by arguing with the static. It becomes clear when you stop feeding the distortion. Notice what happens in your body around certain people. Notice the difference between anxiety and recognition. Anxiety contracts you into imagined futures. Recognition often creates a quiet stillness, even when the information is intense. Learn the signature of your own knowing. It may not shout. It may arrive as a pause, a warmth in the chest, a precise word, or the sudden understanding that you have been ignoring something obvious. Ask yourself what your body does when it is afraid and what it does when it is receiving truth. Fear may scatter your attention, accelerate your thoughts, tighten your breathing, and make you feel that immediate action is required. Recognition may be uncomfortable, but it often contains a strange spaciousness. Even when the message is difficult, a part of you becomes more still because the truth does not need to chase you. It simply waits for you to stop running from it. You can practice this in ordinary situations. Before replying to a message, feel whether your impulse comes from genuine desire or from the fear of being misunderstood. Before agreeing to a plan, notice whether your body expands or quietly withdraws. After spending time with someone, observe whether you feel nourished, depleted, clear, or confused. These observations are not invitations to judge people hastily. They are ways of learning the language of your own field. The second shift is the awakening of the blueprint. Your memories are not limited to scenes you can describe. Some memories are tonal. Some are geometric. Some arrive as an immediate familiarity with a language, a symbol, a constellation, a sound, or a way of perceiving reality. You may feel drawn to patterns you cannot explain. You may experience dreams in which you are observing Earth from a great distance, communicating without speech, or standing in structures made of light and crystalline symmetry. These experiences do not need to be forced into literal conclusions. Their purpose is not to give the personality a dramatic identity. Their purpose is to awaken qualities already encoded within you. A blueprint is not always a complete map. Sometimes it is a series of impressions that become meaningful only after years have passed. A symbol appears in childhood, disappears, and returns during a major transition. A particular tone, image, or phrase stirs recognition without providing a clear explanation. You may feel homesick for a place you cannot locate on any earthly map, or deeply comforted by images of stars, temples, oceans, crystalline forms, or luminous cities. Let these impressions remain spacious. They may be invitations rather than instructions. The danger is turning sacred remembrance into an identity that must be defended. The personality may want to say, "This proves who I am," because certainty can feel safer than mystery. But genuine remembrance often makes you humbler. It reveals that you are part of something vast, and that your role is not to stand above other people, but to participate more consciously in the healing of the whole. The stars do not make you superior. They remind you of responsibility. Your deepest remembering may reveal itself as compassion without collapse, perception without paranoia, strength without aggression, and silence without loneliness. The blueprint is not a costume you wear to appear cosmic. It is the internal architecture that allows you to remain clear when the world becomes noisy. It is the capacity to recognize manipulation without becoming consumed by it, to see pain without making it your identity, and to hold a larger timeline when everyone around you is reacting to the immediate moment. It may also reveal itself through your relationship with service. You may have always sensed that your life was meant to become useful in a way that could not be reduced to status or achievement. You may feel drawn to healing, teaching, art, protection, truth-telling, or the restoration of places and people that have been neglected. The mission does not always arrive as a dramatic assignment. Sometimes it begins with learning to speak kindly to yourself, ending a cycle of harm, or creating enough stability in your own life that your presence no longer transmits unresolved pain. This is why unusual encounters may be occurring around you now. People are not only responding to your behavior, they are responding to the contrast between your visible identity and the deeper frequency moving through it. You may still dress the same, work the same job, speak in an ordinary voice, and carry the same responsibilities. Yet the coherence underneath you is changing. When that coherence becomes strong enough, it acts like a mirror. People feel what they have been avoiding in themselves. Some experience relief. Some experience curiosity. Some experience fear. A mirror does not force anyone to look. It simply reflects what is already present. If someone feels peace around you, that peace may be something they are finally allowing themselves to access. If someone becomes irritated, your presence may be revealing an inner conflict they have been able to avoid elsewhere. If someone becomes unusually attached, they may be sensing qualities they have forgotten within themselves and attempting to locate them outside. Compassion means understanding this without taking ownership of it. You are not required to become a blank surface for every projection. The fact that someone sees something in you does not mean you must become that thing for them. You can reflect courage without becoming their rescuer. You can reflect truth without becoming their judge. You can reflect possibility without carrying responsibility for whether they choose it. Your field can be a doorway, but each person must decide whether they will walk through. The third shift is anchoring the higher self into the body. Many starseeds attempt to awaken by leaving the body, escaping ordinary life, or constantly reaching toward distant dimensions. But your purpose is not to disappear from Earth. Your purpose is to become so present that expanded awareness can function through your human life. The greatest activation is not floating above your circumstances. It is remaining centered while your circumstances test your frequency. There is no higher wisdom in abandoning the ground beneath your feet. The soul chose embodiment for a reason. It entered a world of weight, seasons, hunger, touch, limitation, relationship, and consequence, because these conditions transform awareness into lived wisdom. A vision that never enters your actions remains only an image. A frequency that never reaches your habits remains only a sensation. Your higher self becomes visible when it changes the way you handle a difficult conversation, a financial decision, a disappointment, or an ordinary morning. Ground yourself through simple acts. Feel your feet when someone projects emotion onto you. Breathe slowly before answering a question. Eat in a way that gives your body stability. Rest when your field is overloaded. Spend time in nature without turning every sensation into a message. A multidimensional being still needs hydration, sleep, boundaries, and honest conversation. The body is not an obstacle to your awakening. It is the instrument through which your awakening becomes useful. Place your attention on the weight of your hands. Notice the temperature of the air entering your lungs. Feel the chair supporting you. Listen to the sounds closest to you before reaching for distant impressions. These simple acts tell the nervous system that you are here, now, and safe enough to receive what is present. Grounding does not close your intuition. It gives intuition a stable vessel. When you are anchored, you no longer need to prove that you sensed something. You stop chasing validation from people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop interpreting every reaction as evidence of your destiny. You become capable of holding mystery without turning it into performance. This is essential, because an unstable field can mistake emotional intensity for guidance. A stable field can distinguish between a true transmission and the desire to feel special. The higher self does not need constant drama to confirm its existence. It can be recognized in patience, in restraint, in the ability to say no without cruelty, and in the courage to admit when you do not know. It does not make you immune to mistakes. It makes you willing to learn from them without constructing an identity around failure. The more grounded you become, the less you need extraordinary experiences to feel connected to the extraordinary. The fourth shift is learning that your frequency communicates before your words do. This may explain why those 2 moments affected someone so deeply. They may have encountered an energetic consistency they had never felt from you before. Perhaps you held eye contact without shrinking. Perhaps you answered a question with absolute simplicity. Perhaps you refused to participate in a familiar pattern. Perhaps you remained calm while they expected you to become defensive. These actions seem small, but they can interrupt an entire relational timeline. A person can hear the same sentence from 2 different people and receive 2 entirely different messages. One voice carries fear and the other carries certainty. One is trying to win approval and the other is simply stating what is true. The words may be identical, but the field beneath them changes everything. This is why you sometimes feel the power of a person's silence more than the force of their speech. Energy gives language its weight. When you change your response, you change the available future. The person who depended on your old reaction suddenly loses access to the old structure. They may call you strange because you are no longer predictable. They may say you have changed because you have stopped offering the version of yourself that made their behavior comfortable. They may feel spooked because something in them recognizes that the previous agreement has ended. Every pattern is an agreement repeated until it feels inevitable. One person provokes, the other defends. One withdraws, the other defends. One withdraws, the other chases. One criticizes, the other performs harder. When you step out of your assigned role, the pattern loses its rhythm. At first, this may create confusion. The other person may intensify their behavior, hoping to pull you back into the familiar dance. This is where your new alignment is tested. You do not need to punish them for this. You do not need to amnesia them or awakening. Let your boundaries speak with quiet precision. Let your silence be free from resentment. Let your kindness remain intact without becoming an invitation for intrusion. The field is activated not when everyone approves of you, but when your energy no longer abandons you in exchange for approval. A boundary is not a wall built from hatred. It is a line of truth drawn around what you are responsible for. You can say, "I am not available for this conversation," without explaining your entire history. You can leave a room without proving that the room was harmful. You can love someone and still refuse to participate in the version of yourself that disappears around them. This is not spiritual failure. It is spiritual maturity. The fifth shift is discerning the difference between being witnessed and being exposed. Part of you may have spent years hiding because you believed visibility would make you unsafe. Another part may now be tempted to reveal everything at once, to tell people what you know, explain what you sense, and force recognition of your origin. Both extremes can pull you out of alignment. Hiding says, "If no one sees me, no one can reject me." Overexposure says, "If I tell everyone everything, no one can misunderstand me." Neither strategy creates genuine safety. One keeps the soul locked in a private chamber, while the other hands the keys to people who have not demonstrated care. Your inner world is sacred, and sacred does not mean secret from everyone. It means shared with discernment. True visibility is selective. It does not mean every person receives access to your inner world. It means you no longer betray yourself to maintain a false sense of peace. You can be mysterious without being deceptive. You can be honest without being available to everyone. You can carry ancient impressions without needing to persuade another person that they are real. Ask whether the person before you has the capacity to receive what you are sharing. Are they curious, or are they collecting information to use later? Do they listen, or do they wait for an opening to make your experience about themselves? Do you feel more whole after speaking, or do you feel as though something intimate has been pulled from you? Your body may answer these questions before your mind creates a defense. Some people are meant to feel your frequency before they understand your language. Some are meant to encounter you only long enough to receive a small disruption in their pattern. You may never know what that disruption becomes. A sentence you considered insignificant may cause someone to question a lifelong assumption. A decision you made quietly may give another person permission to choose themselves. Your influence is not measured only by applause or visible results. Often, the most important transmission occurs where there is no immediate confirmation. A seed does not receive applause when it disappears beneath the soil. For a time, it seems to have vanished. Yet in darkness, its outer form breaks open, and the life hidden within begins organizing itself toward the light. Your words may work the same way in another person. They may not thank you immediately. They may even resist what you said. But if the message was delivered with integrity, it can remain underground until the right season. The sixth shift is trusting the timing of your activation. You may wonder why these events are happening now, why people are reacting differently, or why your own behavior seems unfamiliar to you. It is because awakening is not a single moment. It is a sequence of thresholds. First, you notice the pattern. Then you recognize your role within it. Then you recognize your role within it. Then you withdraw your energy from the old arrangement. Then the world responds to the new signal. Each threshold asks for a different kind of courage. The first asks you to see. The second asks you to admit what you see. The third asks you to stop feeding what you have outgrown. The fourth asks you to remain steady when the old world reacts. Many people want the revelation, but not the rearrangement. They want to know their purpose, but not to release the relationships, habits, and beliefs that make the purpose impossible to live. There may be a period of silence between each threshold. Do not assume silence means nothing is happening. Beneath the surface, the energy body is recalibrating. Old emotional contracts are dissolving. Your attention is being removed from timelines that depended on your confusion. What once felt like rejection may have been redirection. What felt like delay may have been protection from entering a mission before your discernment was strong enough to sustain it. Winter does not mean the forest has died. It means the visible activity has moved into roots, seeds, and hidden systems. Your quiet periods may be doing the same. You may be gathering strength without outward evidence. You may be learning to tolerate not knowing. You may be healing the impulse to announce every internal change before it has had time to become stable. Silence can be the womb of an identity that has not yet learned how to speak. The seventh shift is accepting that your presence may activate others without being responsible for their reaction. This is where your freedom returns. You can be compassionate without carrying every response. You can acknowledge that someone feels shaken without making yourself guilty for their awakening. If your actions were respectful, grounded, and sincere, then their encounter with their own inner material belongs to them. You are not here to manage everyone's comfort. You are here to become increasingly honest with the intelligence moving through you. That does not mean being careless. It means allowing your life to reflect the truth you have already begun to sense. The more you align, the less energy you waste maintaining contradictions. You no longer say yes while your entire body says no. You no longer remain in conversations that require you to become less conscious. You no longer confuse familiarity with safety. Some people will call your clarity cold because they benefited from your confusion. Some will call your boundaries selfish because they were accustomed to your constant availability. Some will say you are different as though change were an accusation. You do not need to argue with these interpretations. Let time reveal whether your new choices create more honesty, stability, and compassion. The fruit of alignment is not that everyone understands you. It is that you become less divided within yourself. And this is the deeper reason someone may still be shaking. They did not simply witness you doing something unusual. They encountered a version of you that was not asking to be interpreted. For one moment, you were not performing the identity they expected. You were present, clear, and connected to an inner coordinate that existed beyond the room, beyond the conversation, beyond their assumptions about who you were. They felt the impact of a person whose energy had briefly aligned with a larger pattern. It may have felt like the room became quieter around you, even if no sound actually stopped. It may have felt as though time stretched for a breath, creating a space in which both of you could see the old pattern from outside it. In that space, they may have sensed that you were no longer responding from the wound they knew how to reach. You were not asking them to approve of your transformation. You were simply no longer willing to pretend that the old arrangement was still alive. Here is the revelation your higher self has been waiting for you to receive. You are not becoming strange. You are becoming less divided. The parts of you that once contradicted one another are beginning to return to the same center. Your intuition, your intelligence, your body, your voice, and your choices are moving into a shared rhythm. When that happens, your presence can feel powerful even when you are doing nothing dramatic. You may walk into a space carrying no announcement, yet the atmosphere changes because your field is no longer leaking energy in every direction. Imagine a river that has been split into countless narrow channels, each one pulled toward a different destination. For years, your energy may have been scattered among other people's expectations, unfinished conversations, old fears, and imagined futures. Now those channels are beginning to return to one current. The river does not need to shout to prove its strength. It becomes powerful because it is no longer divided. You were never required to make yourself ordinary enough to prevent other people from questioning reality. You were never asked to dim the intelligence that guided you through experiences no one else could see. The periods of isolation, confusion, and self-doubt were not proof that you had failed. They were the chambers in which your signal was separated from the noise. There were seasons when you may have felt invisible, as though your deepest perceptions had no place in the visible world. You may have watched others move through life with apparent certainty while you were privately questioning everything. But isolation can become an unlikely observatory. In the quiet, you learned to recognize the difference between what people said and what they transmitted. You learned that loneliness and solitude are not the same. Loneliness is the pain of disconnection. Solitude can become the place where connection is restored from within. But now the task is different. You are no longer being asked only to survive your sensitivity. You are being asked to use it responsibly, to listen without panic, to perceive without invasion, to speak without domination, to act without needing immediate recognition. Your awakening becomes trustworthy when it makes you more grounded, more discerning, more compassionate, and more capable of choosing what truly belongs to you. Sensitivity without discernment can become overwhelm. Discernment without compassion can become judgment. Power without humility can become control. The path before you asks for all of these qualities to mature together. You are learning how to receive information without absorbing every emotion, how to recognize a wound without trying to possess it, and how to offer light without demanding that another person walk toward it. The two bizarre things you did may have been small doorways into a much larger realization. You are not performing an activation. You are not trying to send a message. You are simply responding from a deeper layer of yourself, and someone felt the difference. That is what happens when your inner timeline begins to overtake the identity built from your past. Do not underestimate the power of an unplanned moment. A door can open because of a hand placed on a handle almost absent-mindedly. A life can change because someone pauses before repeating an old sentence. A person can begin questioning their limitations because they witness you refuse to accept yours. The sacred does not always arrive with thunder. Sometimes it enters through a small decision made without an audience. Tonight, or whenever you are alone, place one hand over your chest and one over your lower abdomen. Breathe slowly and say, "I allow my signal to become clear. I remain grounded in my body. I release responsibility for reactions that do not belong to me. I remember with discernment, and I move with integrity." Do not force an image. Do not demand a sign. Let the activation be quiet enough to become real. As you breathe, imagine a soft current of light moving from the crown of your head through your throat, your heart, your solar center, and down into the soles of your feet. Let it settle there. Let the light become weight, warmth, and presence rather than spectacle. If emotions arise, allow them to move without turning them into a story. If nothing arises, allow that too. An activation does not fail because it is gentle. You can repeat the words until they no longer feel like a statement you are trying to believe and begin to feel like a truth your body recognizes. The purpose is not to summon something distant. It is to stop interrupting the intelligence already moving through you. You are not begging the universe to notice you. You are learning to notice yourself without distortion. In the days ahead, watch for the moments when you are tempted to return to an old version of yourself simply because someone else is uncomfortable with your clarity. That temptation is the final test of the threshold. You can remain gentle without becoming small. You can remain mysterious without becoming distant. You can remain open without giving away your center. Notice the subtle negotiations that arise. The urge to laugh at what hurts you. The urge to apologize for needing space. The urge to answer immediately so no one has time to question you. The urge to explain a boundary until the other person approves of it. These are moments when the old self reaches for familiar tools. You do not need to fight the impulse. Simply notice it, breathe, and choose from the center you are building. The person who was shaken may eventually understand what they felt, or they may not. Their interpretation is not the measure of your truth. What matters is that you recognize the change within yourself. You are no longer moving through life entirely from inherited programming. Something ancient, intelligent, and deeply aligned is learning how to express itself through your ordinary choices. Let them have their process. Let them name the encounter according to the language available to them. They may call it chemistry, discomfort, intuition, coincidence, tension, or nothing at all. You do not need to enter their interpretation to remain faithful to your experience. The same moon can be described as a stone, a symbol, a satellite, or a companion in the night. The description does not change the moon. You are not here to frighten the world. You are here to become so clear that distortion cannot easily pass through you. You are not here to collect proof that you are different. You are here to remember that difference becomes meaningful only when it is translated into presence, courage, healing, and conscious action. Let your awakening become visible through the way you treat the vulnerable, the way you handle power, the way you respond when no one is watching, and the way you repair harm when you make a mistake. Let it be seen in your willingness to learn, to rest, to tell the truth, and to release what no longer belongs. The highest frequency is not an aesthetic. It is a way of being that brings more life into every space you enter. Before you scroll, take a moment to be part of what's forming here. Drop one intention in the comments, something real. Then respond to someone else's with encouragement or energy. This isn't content, it's collective alignment. Energy multiplies when intention connects. If something in this message resonated, don't keep it to yourself. Someone in your orbit is waiting for this exact activation. Share it. And if you failed to soul nudge subscribe, stay in the flow. You're not just watching, you're expanding. This is your space. And we're just getting started.